The college football transfer portal is officially open. I think Deion Sanders has a chance to make a huge statement by landing 3 key transfers.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Buffs. I am your host, Kevin Borber. Today's episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150 win or lose. Just visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. We are also brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day for free and available wherever you get your podcast. As you guys know, it is Coach Prime season, aka portal season. The spring portal has opened and it will be open for the next 15 days. And realistically, it is about to get hectic AF in the portal, in college football as well. And I do think that Coach Prime is going to make a statement, and I do think that they're going to bring in some guys that people weren't expecting them to even need, to even target, or even have a chance for. But the Buffs are in the mix, so let's dive in. As you guys know, I've been harping on 2 position groups. I've been harping on them. I've been harping. And I think Colorado has already shown that they are prioritizing them. So maybe the the public criticism has worked out. Who knows? But the 2 position groups that I've been harping on the most, linebacker and running back. Realistically, the linebackers, outside of Levante Bentley, they don't have a true linebacker in that room that I'm confident in can play all 3 downs. Like realistically, I think you could look at Jalen Wester, and I think he's good and had a solid, very, very good career at FAU. He hasn't been listed in any of the 2 deeps I've seen. He hasn't been kind of talked about in stopping the run. The linebackers is a position that Coach Prime has consistently talked about needing more from. And realistically, Trevor Woods is kind of like a hybrid linebacker safety type of guy. So I don't know if he's going to be playing there all the time. So Colorado has already reached out to and been in contact with Charlotte 49ers transfer Nikhai, I believe is how you say it, Nikhai Hill-Green, who started his career at Michigan. He is a former highly touted recruit as well. He's someone who I think Colorado, if they get him, would probably start right away. If you look at his recruiting profile, he was the number 23 outside linebacker in the country, 384th player in the country, 4-star out of Maryland. He chose Michigan over a slew of offers like Boston College, Duke, Nebraska, Wisconsin, West Virginia. He had Ohio State and Penn State looking at him as well. So he's a guy that has a lot of experience. He had his best career of his season this past year in terms of stats. He had 73 total tackles, 3 pass breakups, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble. His run grade isn't the best. I kind of dove into him on PFF, but he was ranked as the 244th linebacker in the country. He had a 70.9 defensive grade, 64.4 run defense grade, which is pretty solid, 77.1 pass rush grade, and a 76.1 grade in coverage, which means he could help Colorado slow down those dreaded crossing routes that teams were torching them on all season long last year. So that's one guy to look out for. Obviously, it's only day 1-ish or day 1.5, if you will, in the portal. So there's a lot of guys who haven't yet entered. I think a lot of guys are wanting to put film on display at their spring games because obviously you guys know there's a lot of spring games this weekend and next weekend. So there's going to be more guys that Colorado pursues, but these are the initial ones that have caught my attention this far. Another one, and this is a confirmed reach out by Colorado. They have been in contact with Dallin Hayden, a running back out of Memphis, Tennessee. He's a sophomore that's transferring from Ohio State. He had a big year for the Buckeyes in 2022, had 111 carries, 553 yards, 5 yards per carry, 5 touchdowns, and then he only had 19 carries for 110 yards this past season on 5.8 yards per carry and 1 touchdown. Obviously, not the production that you would hope for, and it's just one of those things where maybe a change of scenery is the way to go, but realistically, he's going to be a hot commodity. And with their running back room in Ohio State loaded up with Trayvon Henderson and Quinshon Judkins, he's obviously looking for a new opportunity. Colorado, Auburn, UCLA, Georgia Tech have all reached out to him. I've talked about the running back room. I know a lot of you guys disagree with this. I know a lot of you guys kind of don't see it. But when you look at this running back room, this is how I see it from I know there's a lot of talent, but I'm just looking at what is in the room. Dylan Edwards, undersized, is going to play more receiver this year than he did last year. I do think that I don't know if he led the team in rushing last year, so I'm not going to take anything away from him. But I do think they want to get him the ball more, and I do think they want to avoid having him between the tackles as much as possible, so that way they could get the most out of him. So undersized running back that's probably going to play a little bit of receiver, a little bit of running back next year. So we'll see how he stacks up. Michael Welch, he's a freshman. Freshmen make mistakes. Freshmen, you don't want to rely on a freshman all the time. It is what it is. Savion Wilkerson, powerful running back. I don't know how to explain it because I feel like you guys always get upset at me, and I'm just going off of the trends. I'm going off of how the team used him last year. They didn't. They would use him in short yard situations. They would use him sometimes at the beginning of games, and then all of a sudden it would be the Anthony Hankerson, Dylan Edwards, and whoever else show. Like they stopped using him. And so obviously there's that. Alton McCaskill hasn't really played since 2021. I saw him in the recent well off media video, kind of making. I think he had a big run for a touchdown. I think he made it for making it bait into the end zone. But he hasn't played since 2021. Do they count on him? Are they relying on him? He's had injury issues. Are they going to want to count on him to be ready to play all the time? Can he be an every down back right away? I don't know. So that's where Dallin Hayden comes into play. And he could come in, either start or be kind of a rotational piece that comes in, provides a powerful runner, a speedy guy who could just make an impact. He's the same size of the running backs that Coach Prime likes. He's 5'10-ish, and Coach Prime likes himself some compact running backs. He said it before. And then this one kind of caught me off guard, and I think it caught a lot of people off guard in terms of him entering the portal. But Penn State wide receiver Keandre Lambert-Smith, who spent 4 seasons with the Nittany Lions, has entered the portal. 6'1", 188, had the best season of his career this past year. 53 catches for 673 yards, 4 touchdowns, 12.7 yards per catch. The year before, he was averaging 6.2. The year before, 15.3. And what this tells me is he wants to probably play with a quarterback who consistently can hit the deep ball. Drew Aller struggles with the deep ball. He struggles with anything beyond 10 yards, it seems like. And so having a quarterback like Shedeur would completely unlock Keandre. Now, I don't know why Colorado's really going after a receiver. I know they lost Tavares Dawson, which I'll get to in the next segment. But I look at this kind of room and I'm like, you have LaJohntay Wester, you have Jimmy Horn Jr., you have Will Shepard coming in. You have, who else am I missing? Omarion Miller. You have Kendre, the recruit, Kendre Miller coming in. You just have so many guys coming into this class. And it's like, why do we need, if you're Colorado, why do you need a wide receiver rather than Draylon Miller? I said Kendre. Draylon Miller. They have Cameron McHale. They have all these guys that could play wide receiver. And it's like, why do they feel the need to bring in another wide receiver portal wide receiver? I don't know, but it never hurts to have a lot of weapons. Injuries happen. I just feel like they need to be focusing more on the linebacker, running back, and even tight end room before they go and get another wide receiver that they have to get the ball to. But if Colorado can land 2 out of these 3 guys, they'll be cooking next season. I think a lot of people are going to respect Colorado in a different manner after this portal window. And I think it's going to be quite the portal window for Coach Prime and company indeed, just because obviously they're making some noise. They want to contend right away. And I feel like they're going to address the positions of need for the most part. And they may just go get, they may, as they say, the rich getting richer. They may do that at wide receiver as well. So look out for Colorado this portal. I expect them to make a lot of moves, and I expect them to be in the mix for a lot of guys, especially when they start losing more guys. It means they get to add more guys. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the Buffaloes that decided to leave the program, which open up new spots, but also kind of if Colorado's losing anything in these guys at all. I'll break it down for you. This episode of Locked on Buffs is brought to you by FanDuel. It's playoff time in the NBA and NHL, and baseball's in full swing as well. And FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150 win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. Check out the Lakers playing the Pelicans tonight. They beat them already this past weekend. The Pelicans are the slight favorites, but I think Anthony Davis and LeBron James kind of want to take some time off, maybe win a game and not have to worry about fighting their way into the playoffs. So go check that out. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel's America's #1 sportsbook. This episode of Locked On Buffs is also brought to you by our sponsors over at Monopoly Go. Let me tell you about Monopoly Go. I've been told I'm a competitive person. Some people, they think I push it a little too much. They think I like to win a little too much. Well, yeah, I have a competitive side. We all do. And my competitive side is a big fan of Monopoly Go. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's been downloaded over 150 million times. It's a great twist on Monopoly where you get to play on not one, but hundreds of Monopoly boards in crazy locations, building up amazing cities that bring you big money. The best part is messing with my friends. I could charge them rent on iconic properties just like classic Monopoly, but now I could also rob their vaults of riches for myself. And the leaderboards show me who the biggest Monopoly tycoon is. But it's not just my competitive side that loves it. You can team up with friends and people all around the world in time tournaments to earn huge rewards. So get in the game and join your friends. Download Monopoly Go now free on the App Store or Google Play. This episode of Locked On Buffs is also brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every single day for free and available wherever you get your podcast. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. You guys will probably see some shorts coming up here in the near future of me breaking down what Colorado's losing. They've lost quite a few guys in the portal. I won't say they were necessary, but they were guys that I don't think were going to have the biggest impact for the Buffs this season. So let's dive into who is gone. I'm going to go in order of guys that I thought would have had the biggest impact this upcoming season. Jaden Milner-Jones, defensive back. He played in every game last year, was pretty productive, I would say. Realistically, as a freshman, I think he was the one outside, along with Carter Startmeyer, that was kind of making headlines as corners that were, or as defensive backs, that were stealing the attention away from one Mr. 5-star Cormani McClain, who hadn't really made an impact yet. And meanwhile, Jaden Milner-Jones, who was a overlooked recruit, I guess you could say, he was thriving. This past season, 24 total tackles, 3 pass deflections, and I thought he would have had a chance to maybe be in the rotation. I don't think he was going to start this next year. I thought he was a really good piece of the future for the Buffs, but it didn't work out that way. Miles Slusher, another safety who you guys know, I talked about him a couple weeks, or I think last week or the week before. He was just injured. I think he was going to start opposite Shilo Sanders. I liked what he brought to the table. I liked his physicalness, his physicality. I liked his savvy. I liked his experience. It doesn't hurt to have a lot of experience. He had the game-winning tackle against TCU. Obviously, he'll be looking for a new home. Former top 120-ish recruit. Tavares Dawson, wide receiver, transferred in from Auburn. Fastest guy, and maybe on the team, or one of the fastest guys on the team. Didn't work out. He was dismissed from the team. I don't really want to go into details about what happened. I know a lot of people are speculating. I don't want to speculate, but he was a guy that had somewhat of a key role early on in the year. He had a touchdown against Nebraska, 2 touchdowns. He had a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown. I saw John Garcia Jr., good friend of the show, talking about his film as a DB. Maybe he switches over to defensive back and that's where he lands. But either way, someone's going to get a speedster in Tavares Dawson. And I thought if the wide receiver room didn't fill up and if he didn't kind of fall out of favor, he could have had a huge impact. Now, the rest of these guys, Savion Washington, he played in, I think it was 10 games at right tackle, was injured the other 2. He was solid. The offense line as a whole was terrible. I would say he was maybe the best one, which I don't know how much that's saying, but he came over from Kent State, followed Sean Lewis, and just didn't work out in Boulder. That offense line was horrendous. Just didn't get what they needed. Isaiah Jada, fellow offensive lineman. Obviously, this unit was struggling. That is what it is. So all these guys that they're losing, it's kind of one of those things where it's like unfortunate to see them go, unfortunate that it didn't work out, but it gives Colorado to add more depth and possibly more size and all that as well. David Connor, who Khalil Benson iconically told, "I'm coming to take your spot." Don't know if Khalil's taken the spot yet because I feel like those 3 from center over to right tackle, those 3 spots are up for grabs. But David Connor is no longer with the program. He has entered his name into the transfer portal. Didn't work out. Never really got to see him play. He came in from Florida. So one of those things where it's like tough to lose a guy that had that potential. But again, we never saw him play. So it is what it is. Chaz Wallace, defensive line. He was a contributor, role player at best. And then Dave Harris, another guy who both of these guys transferred in from Old Dominion. I think And this isn't to take away from what these guys were hoping to accomplish. This isn't to take away from what they did at their previous stops. But I think that's an example of just who Coach Prime was taking in year one. He was taking guys that had interest in Colorado, and now he's taking guys that he has interest in. And so I think this is like a big sort of year in terms of talent acquisition for Coach Prime, because a lot of these guys, and it's again, nothing against them, nothing against where they came from, they just weren't Power Five caliber starters. They just were not Power Five caliber players. Deep Harris was quite productive at Old Dominion, 34 total tackles the year before, 2.5 sacks, an interception that returned for a touchdown. This past season in Colorado, he had 14 tackles, 5 solo tackles. He played in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. Just wasn't what Colorado needed, and I think that's okay. So a lot of people are going to blow this sort of portal class of leaving Colorado out of proportion and be like, oh my gosh, Coach Prime's losing it. He's losing his roster again. And it's like a lot of these guys probably weren't Power Five caliber. A lot of these guys may not start at their next stop. And if they do, they may be going to a Group of 5 or FCS program. It is what it is. It happens. That is portal season all wrapped up in a nutshell. When we come back, I'm going to be talking about the moves that Shilo and Shedeur Sanders are looking to make to help Colorado bolster their transfer portal class. But first, a word from our sponsors over at LinkedIn. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has a tool to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. It helps find your professionals that you can't find anywhere else. Even those who aren't actively searching for a new job might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Again, that's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day, making me a part of your daily routine, my everydayers. You know who you are. Comment below. Comment, I'm an everydayer. I'll make sure to like and interact with you guys. I love talking with you guys in the comment sections every single day. We are talking about Shedeur and Shilo Sanders. Now, they are obviously the staples of this program along with Travis Hunter, and they are looking to help Coach Prime in the portal. Now, I don't know how much of the personnel decision that they have, but both of them posted on social media. Shilo posted on Instagram, his Instagram story. He said, defense transfers DM me and offense transfers DM Shedeur. And then Shedeur tweeted, portal opens soon. Let's get busy. And I think realistically, these guys are going all in. I don't know, and I don't want to speculate because I don't want to speak it into existence. I don't even want to bring it up. But this is their last year as Colorado football players, as college football players, unless Shedeur would decide to come back for a 5th year in 2025. But this is their last year. They are NFL bound after 2024. They want to win games. They want to contend in the Big 12. They want to contend for the college football playoffs. So they know that they have some popularity with other players. They know that they have popularity on social media and they have all the clout. So the more attention they bring to Colorado, the more attention they bring to the program, the more it can help Coach Prime attract talent. Now, I'm not saying that social media followers and clout gets you talent, but it does get you conversations with talent. And I think Colorado has, like I mentioned earlier, a few positions that they need to bolster. And I think the portal is going to be their huge navigation tool, realistically, to do that. So I'm not surprised that they're putting in this work. I am a little surprised at the pushback that they're getting. But again, this is our last year of college football, for likely. And Coach Prime wants to win. They want to win. They want to go out on top, these two. Hopefully, I know a lot of people think Coach Prime's done after this year, which, I mean, TBD, we'll see. But I don't think so. I think he's going to be in here. He wants to coach. I don't think he got into coaching to not just to coach his sons and then dip. But I do think that his team has a lot of promise. And I think that these guys, starting in 2024, could really get this program headed in the right direction if everything goes right. But we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. You guys comment below. If Shedeur Sanders or Shilo Sanders hit you up as a transfer, would you be like, hell yeah, I want to play for them? Or would you be like, maybe? You guys comment below. Let me know what you think. I will keep you guys covered on every transfer portal happening that's going on in Boulder right now and in the future. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and liking and subscribing. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great Tuesday.